suggested that if she came to the farmhouse kitchen, he would make tea for both of them. She should take a break every 4 hours, he said. Take 15 minutes to get your breath back. It's more efficient that way, at least in the long run. A tired a tired girl, too, gets less done than one who's well rested. I've always said that. I told young Phil that. He was one for working all hours, but I told him not to. He had mentioned Phil on the first day. He had explained that he was his nephew, the son of his older brother, who had helped him on the farm for almost a year and had gone off to join the army 2 months earlier. He saw through Hitler, he said. Even when he was a nipper, 14, 15, he said, Hitler's trouble. And he was right, wasn't he? Spot on. Look where we are now. Hitler sitting in all those countries, France, Holland, them places. And if it hadn't been for the Yanks coming in, we'd be on our knees begging for mercy. He had welcomed her because, with Phil gone, he would not have been able to cope. The farm was not a large one, 85 acres, but it was intensively cultivated, and it would have been too much for him to manage by himself. That was where the Women's Land Army came in. They said they would send him one of their land girls, and they sent her, riding on her bicycle from the village 6 miles away. She lived there with her Aunt Annie, the local postmistress. Archie knew Annie slightly, as the local postmistress was friendly with everybody. He must have seen Val about the place too, but he had not noticed her. He did not pay much attention to women and girls. He was a shy man who had never married and tended to feel awkward in female company. But he liked Val. On that very first day he had decided that here was a well-brought-up girl who knew her manners and was not going to be afraid of hard work. She would earn her £2 4 shillings a week, he thought. It was a decent wage if you did not have to give up some of it for board and lodging, and he assumed she did not have to pay Annie for lodging, although she probably contributed something for her food. She might even be able to save, if she stayed the course, which he had a feeling she would do. If they had sent him somebody from town, it could be a very different story. He knew somebody who had been allocated a land girl from London, and she barely knew that milk came from cows. There was no work in her, he had been told, just complaints about mud and requests for time off every other day. He would not have a girl like that about the place. He would refuse, and they couldn't make him take her, even with their powers to tell you to do this and that, as if the Ministry of Agriculture knew how to run a farm. So, Val Eliot, he said as he poured her mug of tea, tell me a little more about yourself. Where are your mum and dad? He immediately regretted the question. He should not have asked her that, and he became flustered. He was relieved that she did not seem upset. My dad went to Australia, she said. That was 12 years ago when I was 7. My mum died 5 years ago. Well, at least she was not an orphan. That would have made his question all the more tactless. I'm sorry about your mum, he said. My aunt is her sister, said Val. She took me in. My dad sends money sometimes, or did until last year when I turned 18. But my aunt was all right with that. She says that my dad isn't a bad man. He's just not the sort to settle down. He moved around in Australia. He's a roofer. They have a lot of tin roofs out there. She paused. You want to see a photograph of them? Of my mum and dad? He nodded, and she crossed the kitchen to the peg where he had told her she could hang the jacket and scarf she wore when cycling from the village. She took out a purse and extracted from it a small photograph. The photograph had been posted onto a card for protection. That's them, she said, before he left for Australia. He looked at the picture of the man and woman standing outside a shop front. They were holding hands, dressed in their Sunday best, the man with one of those stiff, uncomfortable collars, the woman with a blouse that buttoned up to her neck. She has a kind face, he said. I like her smile. My aunt says that my mum always smiled, all the time. She said that even when she felt low about something, she still smiled. That's the attitude, said Archie. No use being down in the dumps. That never makes anything any easier. I think that too, she said. Archie looked at her with admiration. If he had ever had a daughter, she would be something like this girl, he thought. That fellow who went off to Australia, he didn't deserve a daughter like this. She was still working at 6 when Archie told her she could stop. You should be getting home now, he said. Lots of light still, but you'll be needing your tea.